Another year down, and the unrelenting surge of video games and the crushing passage of time continues. Is that too much for the start of an intro of a video? It might be. I'm sorry, but I wanted to talk today about my most anticipated games for 2022. The games that I'm looking forward to. I think it's a good way to kind of take stock and, see what I'm really into, because I play a lot of games, but a select few really stay in my brain long before they actually release. You know what I mean? You definitely have that. Like, even back from the old days, like you'd see a screenshot of a game in a magazine and then it just rattles around in your brain and you keep thinking about it and looking for more info for it until it comes out. I have a good chunk of games that are like that. There's probably going to be more that pop up throughout 2022 that I'm going to get excited for. But for now, these are like the long-term ones. So let's just dive in. The first one, I'm going to start with like an obvious one. The big one for me is Dying Light 2. I'm really excited for this game. I've been excited for it pretty much since it was announced. I got to see like a super early version, like prototype version of it at E3 many, many years ago from the developers. And since then, I've been hooked, specifically just because I really liked the first game and how they supported it and how it kind of like just evolved on the zombie thing in a really fun way. It was a really creative game and it lasted for a long time. It had a lot of legs. So I'm hoping they could do that again, but also what they're doing here with the narrative and world building and your decisions kind of changing things in the world. I like that. I think that's cool. And I like that they're thinking beyond just the zombie killing. The parkour stuff is cool. The RPG element stuff could be cool. Some of the writing seems to be pretty cool. Rosario Dawson is in the game. I don't really care about that, but cool, whatever, man. Ahsoka, okay, let's go. But they keep showing more and more gameplay of it. It keeps trickling out, and it does seem like signs are pointing to it looking to be pretty decent. We've had some whoopsie daisies with some Polish studios lately and overpromised games. So, I'm not like shitting my pants, but this is one of the big ones for me, for real. And unless it gets delayed again, it has been delayed a lot, but as of right now, it's February 4th, 2022. Another one on my list that you may not have expected is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. This game looks sick. Now, this is nostalgia. That's totally what this is. I grew up playing games like this. This reminds me a lot of like the Turtles arcade games, the Super Nintendo games, and it's from Dotemu, the people behind Streets of Rage 4, which was excellent. I love Streets of Rage games, and I thought that was a great like new version of an old classic. It was like that perfect line. That's another series that I loved growing up. I like those brawlers and I like the Ninja Turtles, and I think this is like a perfect handling of the property, at least with what we've seen so far. The characters, the animations, the vibe, the animated intro and the song and everything. I'm very much about this. And just in terms of the raw gameplay stuff, Streets of Rage 4 just played pretty damn great. It's just the right amount of challenge, so I'm hoping that they continue it with Shredder's Revenge. I don't think that has a release date, just 2022. It looks far along, but we'll see.
Two other ones worth quickly mentioning. There's not too much to say about them. They're both kind of similar-ish styles. Hellblade 2 looks insane. Obviously, the newest gameplay reveal was amazing, but I love the first game so much, so the second this thing has been announced, it's been on my most anticipated list, and thankfully it seems like this year is the year. The other thing is the new Plague Tale game. I freaking love the hell out of the first game. It's another one where it's just kind of like a linear third-person adventure game with beautiful graphics. Seems like this one is amping up the stakes. It's getting a little crazier. Amicia is more of a badass now, but I'm really curious to see where this thing goes.
Next up, I do want to get a little crazy. Let's talk hardware, because some most anticipated things, some things I'm really excited about in 2022 were actually hardware. The Steam Deck. Got to acknowledge it. It was supposed to happen at the end of 2021, right smack in the middle of the holiday season. But of course, with availability and chipset shortages and all that nonsense and supply chain issues, it's going to be a bit. I've had one pre-ordered or whatever. It's like pre-ordered, but you're not really technically pre-ordered. Valve's doing it weird, but I've had one since the minute it went live. I've been excited for this concept. I've played with similar devices like the Aya Neo. That thing retails for like $1,000 and it's chunky. The Steam Deck seems refined, smart. The way it's integrating things seems pretty awesome. I'm just really excited at the potential. I love hardware that changes how you play games. And the way this changes things is really, it's just your Steam library on the go. I really want that. I'm very happy about that. So I'm in, and I'm really looking forward to this thing. Not only to just use it and play with it, like of course I'm gonna be obsessed with it, at least if it's good, but also I love making hardware videos, like for Game Ranks, when we do hardware videos. it's like my favorite thing to do. So like, I'll be honest, like there is the work aspect I'm looking forward to with it, but just the device so far seems promising. Valve has been pretty transparent with it, so February is roughly when they start shipping. It can't come soon enough, dude. Also, I'm gonna get weirder. I'll talk about another hardware thing. This is more for specific people. It's the Playdate. If you haven't heard of this, what this is a small handheld device. It's like $170 or something like that. And it's like an experimental mobile handheld device. It's got a little bit of a crank on the side that works as an input, and it's going to have some games and have more games added to it that are just kind of like small experimental games created by various developers who are experienced with regular games. So what you get from this is just something different, and I've lately been chasing those different experiences, those fun, experimental, weird things. I don't always have enough time to play like cool indie games and stuff like that. I only usually get my hands on a couple every year, but this Playdate just seems like a really cool way to experience weird new approaches to small games. For some people, they're gonna think like, I get it, like for the money and what you're getting, it's not really worth it. I totally understand, but like I'm just chasing that high of new weird shit. So I've been in on this concept since day one. I got to see it at PAX, the PAX convention a couple years ago. The hardware actually seems pretty nice, and the experiences seem fun, so I'm just really looking forward to getting my hands on the thing for real. Now let's move over to some things I'm looking forward to. I don't know if it's coming this year. Fable, that thing has been in the works for a long time. It was like, a really not well-kept secret, but I love the Fable series. The original Fable 1 and 2 are some of my favorite games ever. 2022 would be great. I'd be happy. I don't want them to rush it. Take as long as you need. But, if it happens to be this year, I would be very happy. And I'm also just using another excuse to talk about Fable. I'm going to have to visit that series in a video series before the game releases, definitely. Another one that might be this year or it might not be, Final Fantasy 16. Don't have too much to say about it other than that I just love a mainline Final Fantasy entry. I love jumping into a new world, new characters, new stories, usually a new style of JRPG combat in one way or another. And some of the stuff going on with this one in terms of art style looks pretty freaking sweet. And the action looks insane. And I'm just excited to see, after Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I really, really loved, just going back to that whole new world, whole new adventure thing again. Let's do it. Because I love 15, but this one seems a little bit more like just crazy, other weird Final Fantasy. It's a series that is all over the place. No, I still don't have time to play 14. I may never, but I'm going to play the shit out of this. If it comes out this year, cool. I don't know. Other games that are looking more likely this year is both Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. That's the Rocksteady one, the people who made the Arkham games, where Gotham Knights is a bit more of a different spin-off, more combat-focused Arkham-style game. Gotham Knights, I'm really excited for just the Bat Family stuff, the Court of Owls. I think the Bat Family stuff has the potential for really great stories to be told that really are just kind of relegated to the comics. I think some people just don't really get to experience how good those dynamics can be, and if this game can take advantage of that, I'm in. Is it the exact type of game I want? No, not quite. I'm not super into like co-op and all that stuff, but still, like, seeing gameplay of the boss battles and stuff like that, I will play it. I'm a Batman fan, so like it's like I'm obligated. Another one, and this is a smaller game. It's called Stray. This is that cat game. It's been shown off at events and stuff like that. You may have seen it on like a live stream. I don't have much to say about this other than cool cat game. I want to play it. And since it was revealed, actually like quite a while ago, I've been thinking about it. So that says a lot. I'm gonna jump into that. I like these types of experiences. These kind of not 2D, because it's certainly not 2D, but just like smaller scale experiences like this, Tokyo Jungle, even like Playdead's games. Like I like those types of experiences. Also on my list, and I have it written down as 2022, hopefully, is Breath of the Wild 2, or whatever it's really going to be called. I am one of those people who loved Breath of the Wild. I ate it up, so I want more. But I like that they're doing some different stuff here. I'm usually not into them just kind of like continuing a Zelda game, like, oh, more of that. But with here, I'll take a little more, especially with how they've been setting it up and how they've been teasing it. I am one of those people going down those weird rabbit hole fan theories about what this game could possibly be and what they're possibly teasing with like, I don't excuse me. Wow. There's a lot of potential for this one, for getting weirder and wilder. As much as I still would very much just like a new Zelda spin. Again, I like Breath of the Wild's gameplay enough, and the story, the possible story ramifications here, I'll take it. Just, can I pause for a second? I do want to pump the brakes for a second. I do want to say this episode's brought to you. No, I'm kidding. I do want to just mention that Elden Ring isn't on my list. Everyone's going to comment and they were going to be like, Jake, where's Elden Ring? People like kind of just put that hype on me and assume that I am mega hyped for it. I'm not like the most huge From Software guy. I love the shit out of Bloodborne. I also really like Dark Souls 3 and Sekiro I was pretty into, but like they're not usually like my go-to super hyped games. I expose myself to them because I have to like review them and I appreciate them and enjoy them, but they're not like at the top of my list. So please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. I just wanted to mention it, like why it's not necessarily on my list. I'm going to play it. It does seem pretty cool. The world style, the layout does seem to be accessible and interesting. I want to see their take, their spin on an open world thing. But I personally have other things I want to play first. You know what I mean? Now moving on to something that a bunch of people are going to make fun of me for, because like, I don't know, like you go online, like Todd Howard's like a war criminal or something. Starfield right now is slated for November 11th, 2022. I know people are like burned by Bethesda now. They don't trust them. But for me, the way I just look at it is I see this game and it's a new Bethesda game. What's that like? Like a new Bethesda RPG. It's been a minute. They all have had a very similar framework or kind of vibe or feel or even tool sets. Starfield seems to demand being the most different feeling. So it's been a long time since they've done a completely different new thing. And I like that a team is like, hey, we've been making the same shit. Let's try this other cool thing we've wanted to make. It's now or never. That excites me. You know, you could say what you want about Bethesda and everything, and yeah, some of it is valid, but as just like a player of games and enjoyer of games, like just a new Bethesda thing that is completely different, I want to jump into that. Now the PlayStation stuff. All right, so God of War Ragnarok might be slated for 2022. I am very excited for that. I'm really curious to see how they continue this story. I really like the Kratos Atreus thing. There's not too much to really be said about this. It's like more God of War, bigger God of War, and I'm in. On the other hand, what I'm also really excited about, which is like a strong 2022 release that's I don't think is going to get bumped at this point, is Horizon Forbidden West. So I liked Horizon Zero Dawn. I didn't like absolutely downright love it. There were certain things about it where I was like, okay, this is just like another open world game. There were some things about it that I just didn't really expect going into it, and I didn't like the way it was handled, like the bigger RPG stuff and the cultures and the quests and stuff like that. But how they're setting up this one and all the little developer docs and all the interviews they've been given and just kind of like some of the design approaches they've talked about have me interested in terms of like how they're, you know, kind of developing on this formula that the first game set up, how they're filling it out, how they're really embracing the towns and cultures and NPCs and stuff. And I'm curious to see like what a new level of that is. Also, just the last gameplay trailer they showed was kick-ass. It was just insane. It was like so dynamic and so detailed and so fluid in terms of gameplay. Like it just like it checked all the boxes for me. So I'm pretty excited. I wasn't really like head over heels excited with the first teaser because I was like, I don't know anything. But now that they've talked it and shown it, I am really looking forward to playing this. Now, lastly, believe it or not, my most anticipated game of this year, and if you watch the Friday show, you might notice already, but Sifu. Sifu is my most anticipated game. It's from the people who Slow Clap, who made Absolver, which was a game I also really, really loved. And just the way that combat style clicks in that game is so satisfying and so well made. And the approach that they're taking with this game, this framework, this loop seemingly of what we know of it is way more up my alley. So like I love the combat of Absolver, but here with this scenario, with this type of like almost like kung fu badass John Wick, no guns, like it just seems perfect. And the whole aging dynamic where you die, you respawn, you come back, you're a little older. I just really can't wait to see this all in motion. It's probably going to be really challenging, and I'm probably going to bounce off of it because I'm like, this is too hard. I hate it. But but this whole freaking thing just like really appeals to me. Every little snippet of gameplay they put out, every GIF they put out, just everything you see of how the combat animates, how it works, how the countering works, the reversals work, the hits work, environments, the objects in the environments, how you use it all. It just seems so awesome. And like, I'm trying not to get too excited about it because, you know, we got to take it easy, but I'm playing this one. 100%. And I mean, that goes for all of these, like, you expect videos, whether it's here or Game Ranks. I'm going to be talking about these for the next year or so. So buckle up, I guess. There's a lot more. Like I said, there's so much more coming out. There are things that are probably going to be revealed soon that are coming out soon. I'm looking forward to those as well. But for now, I want to hear from you guys in the comments. If you have your own top 5 or your own top 10 of games you're looking forward to the most in 2022, hit me up, hit my line, let me know. I want to hear from you. Especially, it's like a good way to gauge what people are into. If you guys are into stuff that I'm into, or if we're different, I don't know. Let me know. If you had fun yapping with me, listening to me ramble here, all you got to do is click the like button. I legit appreciate it. Thank you. But I'm Jake Baldino. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for watching. Subscribe because video games. Pizza's all me.